Well, hello everyone, and welcome to a brand new podcast, Haunt Talk. Woo! Yeah! Cue the applause. My name is Scott.
And I'm Rob.
And Rob, the Howling Hour. Yes. Of course, you all know me. Exploring attractions. Today, we're talking haunt. I guess that's a good pickup line. I'm sure Rob will come up with something along the way because he's always clever like that.
I try. We'll see what my mind can work with.
But yeah, guys, so this is a new idea that we kind of just both generated together. Rob's been wanting to do a podcast. Yes. I've been wanting to get back into the podcast game because rest in peace, Horror Nights Unscripted. I love you both since I know you're watching. But with Haunt Talk, we're going to be talking about all things West Coast haunts and not specifically Horror Nights. So not Scary from Six Flags, Howl-O-Scream, indie haunts and stuff like that, all West Coast stuff. So this will kind of probably happen maybe once a month for now, and then once speculation season starts ramping up, then we'll probably do like 3 a month.
For sure.
I don't know. Whatever Rob feels is best.
Get the ball rolling.
You know how they say, he's the leader of the pack. Get it?
Oh.
Howling Hour. But what are we doing today? What are we recapping?
Well, I think we're going to recap, I guess, the kind of major haunts. No diss at any other haunts, but we got 3 major haunts out here, which is Knott Scary Farm, Horror Nights, HHN at Universal Studios, and my beloved Six Flags Fright Fest.
Yeah, I mean, I figure we kind of recap and talk about what didn't go wrong, but what they can improve on, and what they did good between all 3 events.
Yeah.
So I think we should kick it off with arguably my favorite haunt this year, Knott Scary Farm.
All right. Also mine, too.
Oh, okay, fair enough. So I guess I'll let you take the floor. What are some things that you like?
Oh man, I loved just Knott's always brings really good mazes, and the new mazes that came this year, I wasn't the biggest fan walking through Room 13 at first, but gradually as the season went on, I started to like it more and more. Obviously, Cinema Slashers, I feel like everyone just absolutely loved it. It was probably one of the best mazes this year. And the Chilling Chambers, I'm really excited to see, because there's so much they can do with that throughout the years. I know Knott's typically has like a 5-year run with mazes.
Right.
But I think this maze specifically lends itself to kind of being there a little longer with what you can do with it. So I think the mazes that they brought in did a really good job. I didn't get to see any of the shows, but I was there limited time, and we were just kind of like going to hit the mazes, but I'm glad they have shows back. I'm glad they brought the hanging back. I heard mixed opinions about it, but I'm glad we have the hanging back. So I think this year they did a really good job with all the new things that they brought.
I think to counter that with the Chilling Chambers, I definitely want to see them add different mazes from the past into that Chilling Chambers maze. I don't want it to just be the 50th anniversary that comes around every single year. I would like to see them switch out some of the different mazes brought from the past. So, for example, Dominion of the Damned could replace the little pumpkin eater section. Stuff like that that could just be featured in there as like full length stuff is I would say to counter on the Chilling Chambers thing.
Okay.
Room 13, I agree with you. I mean, Room 13 kind of let me down. I will say I feel like they need to focus on filling in the blank spaces this year with Room 13. I would say that's fair, right?
Yeah, for sure. There was rooms where I walked in that were big and there was one character in there. So, they obviously, the characters always, always go hard. They do their best, but there's only so much one person can do in a huge room. So I hear you.
Whereas some of the mazes you have like a couple characters per room.
Right.
So that's the thing. So yeah, Room 13, I don't want to say it was a letdown. It's just, there's definitely room for improvement there. Cinema Slasher, obviously a chef's kiss. My favorite this year was Chilling Chambers, but Cinema Slasher, it was like 50-50 kind of, I feel like.
Okay.
Like, depending on how long you've been going to the event, I feel like it was 50-50.
I mean, for me, Cinema Slasher was probably my favorite maze, period, like out of any park I went to. But what you're saying with Chilling Chambers, I think that just was like, it was a love letter for all the years that Knott's was running, and how could you not love that?
Yeah, and I think that overall, what they did to capitalize on the 50th anniversary, they couldn't have done any better. That was an
for
amazing
sure.
way that they capitalized on the 50th anniversary. It was kind of like a comeback year, like Knott's making a statement like, hey, we're still
Oh
here.
yeah.
We provide some of the best hunt entertainment quality in the market, not just in the West Coast, but just all across the
Oh
country.
yeah.
I mean, people came out from the East Coast and stuff to see this
Oh
event.
yeah, they definitely they put that 50th stamp on this year period, and then we can't forget about those awesome lanterns they sold. I mean, come on.
Yeah, which I was gonna talk a little bit about. I think that it's in their best interest to capitalize on merchandise next year as they did with this year. They were, how to say, they were really pro merchandise, and like
Yes.
the tribute store was there, or the legacy store if you want to call it. I think that they should capitalize on that again. The whole Midsummer Scream panel
Right.
was dedicated to showing off the merchandise, so definitely think they should capitalize on that again. The first time that we actually got a view at the legacy store was the announcement event, the Not Scary Farm 50th Nightmares Revealed, which if they are going to bring the announcement event back and charge, I think, what was it, like 20
It was
bucks,
$20. Yeah.
yeah, if they're going to bring it back, which I think that they should, I definitely think that they need to make it a longer time period, and they need to open up the whole park if they're going to have the same capacity, because it was very crowded, and we waited like 40 minutes in line just to get inside the Legacy store, so there wasn't enough time to do everything. We were
Right.
able to do the Origins Lights On tour because we went there right away, but getting into the store and kind of enjoying the ambiance, we didn't really have much time to do that, and then the store was packed. So I would say improve on that as far as expanding the announcement event and also making the hours longer as well.
Oh, for sure. And you brought up the Legacy Store. I think that was just a huge plus for just Knott's Scary Farm itself and its fans. Like, and also too, the
Right.
merch they brought. Like, it wasn't just, oh, let's throw some merch out there. It was some good stuff. Like, I don't really buy a lot of merch, but I think the day after they had the announcement, I went down there and I dropped a couple $100 on merch because I was so excited to get everything. So I think definitely this year with the merch, they really stepped up their game. And then the Legacy Store kind of just, added to your buying experience as you walk through there. It's like, oh, look at that. Oh, look at that. Let me grab this sweater.
Yeah. I mean, and then on top of that, right next to the Legacy store, you had old mazes that were just phenomenal
Right.
and did way better than their original years. Like Waxworks. Waxworks, the cast killed it this year. And I think it's so impressive on how much cast they put in there compared to years prior.
Right.
I had so much fun walking through Waxworks, whereas before, last year, or I guess now 2 years ago, it was at the lower of my list. But it shows a lot with filling maze holes and
Right.
putting more cast into the houses, that it improves a lot.
Definitely, I agree with you, and to kind of go opposite of that, I saw the opposite effect in
Yep.
Bloodlines, where
And the depths.
and the depths, where there was those two mazes back there. It's just the characters were scarce, and I saw maybe, I don't know, a couple of characters in Bloodlines, and it was just like, come on, Knots, throw a little more in there.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I know, and that's one thing to counter that. Like you said, they filled a lot of the mazes, like Mesmer, like Waxworks. But yeah, definitely improve on putting more cast into mazes that do need it, like the Depths and Bloodline. So, I mean, last thing I want to talk about doesn't really relate to you because it's kind of a bummer that you didn't get to see them. But I'll spend a quick 5 minutes on
Okay.
them, or the two shows that I watched.
Okay.
I didn't watch any of the other shows. The Hanging was phenomenal. I thought it was great. I was really concerned that they kind of dial it down, which they did to an extent of what they needed to.
Okay.
Like, we don't want to go overboard
Okay.
to stuff that's actually really offensive. But, I mean, it was good. It was good for what it was. I mean, poking fun at Disney was always a great, true hanging historical thing. They had the Will Smith slap. That was awesome. They hung a Karen in a no boot necklace. I mean, talk about being self-aware. Like, good on Knott's for that. Overall, the new no boot necklaces wasn't a big issue as I thought it would be. I really didn't see a lot of them this year. So, I mean, I can't really complain. The Magic or Monsters, Madness, and Mayhem show gave total Elvira vibes, and I definitely think that they should bring it back. However, it needs to be scaled back from a 45-minute to 50-minute show to a 25-minute to 30-minute show, because it did get a little bit long, and when there's so much to do at Knott's Scary Farm like there was this past year, I feel like they should definitely scale it down to 30 minutes. But overall, I think that show was incredible. I wish that you were able to watch both of them, especially the new one in the theater, because like I said, it definitely gave like Elvira vibes, and it capitalized on Knott's past. There's a ghost town scene in there. There's a doll factory scene in there. It was incredible.
See, and that what you're saying, the time, that kind of, it's smart on, I guess, Knott's part, because it does pull a lot of people, theater-filled people away from the crowd for 45 minutes. But that's also what kind of turned me off to it, is I didn't want to sit there for 45 minutes. But you're saying, a 25-minute show, even a 30-minute show, I think is more reasonable, especially since there is so much to do at Scary Farm. You don't want to be stuck. That's almost like, by the time you get in there, by the time you get out of there, you're roughly, that's like an hour, 15 minutes, gone. So the time is a big deal why I didn't really want to see it. Had nothing to do with the show, because I saw, clips and stuff, and the show looked good, but I just didn't want to sit there for an hour.
And if you scale it down to 30 minutes, you have, say you're visiting on multiple nights as an average fan, you watch one show in the Hanging for 30 minutes, not taking up a lot of your night. You watch another show on the other night for 30 minutes, not taking up on your night. Or even if you're watching both shows, an hour and some change, it's not taking away a lot of your night as long as you're strategizing. So, I mean, that's pretty much my summary of Knott's Scary Farm, the 50th anniversary for 2023. Pros and cons with it. If you want to add anything else.
No, I think you hit it there. I think they did a really good job. Not too many cons for me. A lot of pros. I think
I'd say mainly pros.
I was trying to think about it. I was like, really nothing heavy complaints about it. I thought they did a really good job.
Yeah, bag policy needs to be changed, oh man.
Yes, I wrote that down here, though. Bag policy, yes.
Yeah. But I mean, with that said, let's move into Universal's Halloween Horror Nights. I'll let you take the floor for this one as well.
Okay, well, I only went one time this year, so unfortunately, but I did get the front of the line, and I did get the early entry, so...
Yeah, you were there all night.
Yeah.
I remember in 2022 opening night, you kind of dipped out early, but last year you were there all night long.
Because I didn't know if I was going to come back, so I was like, I got to get my money's worth. But you know what? Yeah. Again, HHN, it's like there are always things that we complain about, but they always kind of make up for it with how good the houses are. Just overall, I like how them adding the show. I didn't see the show, but I got to watch a lot of videos of it. But I like options of things to do, which is why I liked when they brought the Terror Tram back. I like things for everyone to do.
Variety.
Yes, I love variety. We're obviously gonna get the houses, but you give me a show here, a little walkthrough here, you get the Terror Tram, all that good stuff. I think they're kind of finding their footing as far as okay, this is how many houses we can do. This is how many shows we can do for people to do. But, the only thing I really had a kind of more complaint about was the early entry ticket thing. It's kind of sucky, but, it is what it is.
Yeah, which unpopular opinion here, and I know that I stand alone on this take, but I practically had a really good time doing early entry. Most of the nights that I went were Wednesdays and Thursdays when it was $10, $15. And I'd say my only gripe about it is towards the middle of October. Obviously, that's a busy time for these haunts because you have more general public going. The lines are a little bit long for early entry. But overall, and another gripe is the cast wasn't as filled in the beginning.
Right.
So when you're doing early entry, you're getting half the cast, but you just walked right into houses, but they're practically empty. So I don't have a problem with early entry. It's a paid thing that you're paying for a premium experience. I think that opening up free early entry means that you're practically opening up the event at 5 o'clock.
Right.
Which, if they want to do that, cool. Don't market it as early entry. Open the event at 5 o'clock. But for me, I I gotta say I didn't really have a bad experience with early entry, and I did it probably like 5 times. That's $50 that essentially got me to all the lower lot mazes, or houses I should say, within the first 45 minutes or to an hour of the event, with the exception of Stranger Things, of course. But even then, I was able to make it up and hit the Persian courtyard houses and stuff like that, and line up early for Chucky and Universal Monsters. So it's all about strategy,
Right.
really, for early entry, and that's really where I stand on that part of
No,
things.
and I've seen when you were going like on your Instagram and stuff like that. I saw you do early entry, and you were hitting a lot of things. So you definitely have like a model of what you should follow to do the houses.
Yeah.
Again, you kind of mentioned the only issue. I don't have a problem with them charging early entry. I think it was more my issue is if you're gonna charge for early entry, you should have the houses running the way they should be, because
So like the filled people.
Right. Filled with people the way it should be. Because like you were saying, I went through the first house I went through was Stranger Things, and I went through it a few times, and I saw, okay, well, there was like I didn't know there was missing actors until I went through like the third time, and I was like, oh wait, there's another person here, there's a person here, there's a person here, and I was just like, oh, that's if I would have just only did it once, I wouldn't have known. I would have missed out on all this stuff. So that's
and the thing is too is like I mean, comparing my house counts from last year compared to 2022, I did Monsters 10 times, which was a part of early entry. I did Holidays 10 times, Chucky 6 times, Evil Dead 7 times. And really, like, all of them were, like, high in those numbers, whereas I went the same amount of times, too.
Right.
Just keep in mind, in 2022, I think my max house was probably 6 times with the free early entry. So there's that to kind of base it off of.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, again, like you said, I think if you go there with a plan, whether you get early entry or not, it's probably best if you get early entry if you're going to just go on a general ticket.
Which is hard because general public aren't going to go with a plan, but the people in the community who know Horror Nights, if they're buying early entry, they should kind of know a strategy on how to tackle the event.
Right.
So, but I mean, speaking of operations and stuff like that, I definitely think that they need to extend to the lower lot, meaning the back lot area of the park. So that would include the back lot, H lot, lower lot, and upper lot locations. And the big reason I say that is the capacity and the crowd level is just getting ridiculous now.
Yes.
I say open the event at 4 for early entry. As early as 4, I know it's gonna kind of make of a mess with the regular day guest, but since they do bring in so much money, them being closed for an extra hour for the daytime theme park, I think would benefit them with the extra money that they're bringing in. And with the back lot, I definitely think there's room for plenty of people down there, and people are going to stay down there and spend money at the bars and everything, especially if they have theme bars, because they don't want to walk right back up right away after they just spent all that time walking down. So that's another thing that I think they should improve on. Overall, though, like you were talking about with the lineup, I think the variety was awesome this year. I mean, you had your strong IPs in Chucky, Exorcist, once the movie actually came out. Stranger Things will always be popular. However, I think that the Stranger Things thing is done. You had the 2 shows, which I know were definitely planned last minute, so I would like to see them spend more time planning those 2 shows. I definitely think that they should bring them back, but yeah, definitely spend some more time on planning those shows. Overall, though, for what it was, they were pretty cool and pretty entertaining, and the Blumhouse one was cool to see, like, all the props and everything. And one last thing I want to say is I think that Monsters, it should be its last year after this year.
Wait, you're talking about like the Universal Monsters?
Yeah, just the classic Monsters.
Okay, that's a hot take.
That's a hot take. I think because last year's was kind of iffy. It was fun, but it was kind of iffy. And this year's was just like definitely had the most black walls out of any house at the event. I think it's time to wrap it up and then maybe retire them for a few years and then bring them back in the future.
Yeah, I mean that would get the like supply and demand kind of thing. Like, oh, we haven't had a Monsters house in a year or two. We want to see what. But I do agree with you. I feel like they're kind of just trying to throw what they can at us. Maybe, I don't know, like you're saying, like take a year off, refresh it, and then come back with a good story. Come back with another Bride. Come back with another
Yeah, The Bride of Frankenstein was incredible,
Yes.
and that was on like a very high budget year.
Yes.
And yes, I think that this year they should definitely focus on bringing a variety lineup like they did this year, practically copying and pasting the same exact kind of formula that they use, because it was very similar to 2022, which I thoroughly enjoyed. I'd say they're both very similar, and the amount of new effects and different entities, I guess, I don't know if that's the right word, or just different things that they tried this year, especially on the BTS tour. Murdy was talking about how they're trying some insane stuff like the La Lechuza animatronic.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Doing stuff like that and putting the detail in and putting the quality into these houses really resonates a lot with your diehard fans.
Oh, for sure. I completely agree, because we're all going to sink our teeth into all that stuff, especially when Murdy's talking about, oh, we're doing this with the animatronics and, we're looking into this. So it's just like, what? Give me more. Give me more.
Right, exactly. It's awesome to see like all the effects that they use. I mean, the Mega Chucky, that was incredible.
That was awesome. That was awesome.
Yeah, or just the way that they did Chucky in general was awesome.
Oh, for sure. That was probably one of the better houses at this event this year.
Yeah, that was definitely like fun for sure.
Yeah.
And then not only that, but they like put an animatronic La Yakuza, and then they also put a giant puppet in that house too.
Oh, yeah.
Which was incredible, Like what? But now that we've gotten Horror Nights and Knott's Scary Farm out of the way, Rob, this is your home haunt event.
Yes.
Six Flags Fright Fest.
Yes, I love it. Six Flags, you have my heart. So I mean, I was really excited this year at Six Flags, especially when we got the announcement where we were getting two IPs, something I don't feel Six Flags, at least in my memory, has ever done before. So I was super.
Yeah, I'm sure like way back they did something, but I mean.
Yeah, before my time,
we don't know.
but since I've been going for a few years now, I can't remember them doing an IP like this. So, or two IPs actually. So I was super excited. I'm always excited to return to Six Flags. The scare zones are always good. The characters, you know what? They're up top level characters.
The characters at Fright Fest, honestly, I may get some flack for saying this, but they are definitely unmatched, and it's awesome because they like coincide with Knott's, Horror Nights, and Fright Fest. Like all these characters go to these different events and work them. Obviously, you're gonna have your OGs at the events, like Death at Scare Farm. You obviously have who's the one that retired this year at Fright Fest, which is a bummer.
Innocence.
Yeah,
Innocence.
yeah.
Oh,
She's always been there, and she retired randomly. So rest in peace to Innocence.
Yeah, man, that one was tough.
Awesome,
that one was tough.
I think West Coast for sure, regardless, has the best characters at any haunt production / area. I mean, their characters kill it every single year.
Oh, for sure. And I've been going long enough now that I've kind of built like I would say a friendship, kind of with a lot of them. So it's always cool to see their characters running around and scaring people. So, I love Six Flags. I love what they're doing with the zones. Kind of changing them. Even the zones that kind of are okay, they're always doing something to try and mix it up a little bit. So,
but that's where the characters come in and help it,
Yes, for sure. Yeah. For sure.
So, shout out to all you Fright Fest scare actors.
Yes.
I think with me, I think talking about the IPs, they need to not so much invest in the IPs. Well, yes, The Conjuring was really good. I didn't have the most amount of fun in Saw.
Okay.
I really like that location and how they're able to hold the queue in that big of a location. However, I think that IPs belong in zones at Six Flags.
Okay.
And I'm not saying like 4 zones. I'm saying maybe like 2. Maybe 2 small ones, back in the underground area, maybe somewhere back there. And I think that they should really invest in revamping a lot of the originals. The big reason I say that is because with Truth or Dare, I don't know if you walked through it last year.
Oh, I know. I didn't get to go through it last year.
But you saw the maze POV though?
Yes.
That last year compared to 2023, complete night and day.
Oh, for sure.
Because they invested so much design and time and money into that haunted house, where this year, or 2023, it was incredible. So I feel like they should definitely do that with some of their original mazes, especially if they're going to keep bringing them back. Instead of doing the IPs, invest more into the original mazes.
Oh, definitely. I mean, when you say that, the first maze that sticks out to me is Vault 666. I don't know if they got to get rid of it, or like you're saying, do some kind of like revamp, reinvest into it. I feel like there's I mean, I know what the original theming was when they first brought that maze, but now when I walk through it, I don't know what's going on. I don't know,
Right.
you know, what, like, are they what story they're telling. So, you know, you're saying invest a little money into it, you know, kind of hone the story of what it is that's going on in there. And I think it could be a solid maze. And I really do. I like the Condemned house. I just don't, and I've said this, you know, I've said this before. I just don't like the house party Condemned house at Fright Fest.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely fun, but that's like a screen break type of thing.
Right.
Like, when I walked through it, I was like, this isn't a good vibe for Fright Fest.
Right.
It's a good thing for screen break.
Yes.
So,
Completely
but yeah,
agree.
I mean, on top of that, I think that it's time to bring back a show. They need to utilize that theater by Twisted Colossus. I don't know when the last time they had a show in there was, but I would like to see some like high production or at least like middle production show go in there. Like maybe a Cirque show or a Cirque-esque show.
Yeah.
Something like that. I definitely think that Fright Fest needs more entertainment.
Well, I think I mean, if as far as entertainment wise, they do the DJs, which they're very cool.
Right. Which is awesome.
Yeah, the music's very cool. You know, it's kind of, you know, you got a good vibe. And, you know, this year they had the Slider show. They brought back the Slider show. You know, that's once a night, and it's, you know, closer to midnight. So, but yeah, I think like you're saying, like maybe some kind of, I don't know, acrobatic show or something.
Yeah, just something, or maybe even just like
night.
a dancing show.
Yeah.
You know.
Not the Jabberwockies, though. Not the Jabberwockies.
Yeah, not the Jabberwockies, but just like a 20-minute dancing show that has horror themes. You see it at multiple different haunts at theme parks as they do like dancing shows with horror elements. Why not do that in there? Like I said, I don't know when the last time that theater was used, but I would assume that everything's still good and standing in there. But I could be wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been in that theater in a while, but I'm even thinking like, Knott's used to have the blood drums. I don't know if you remember them.
Yeah.
Like a show, something like that at Six Flags, I think would play really well there.
Yeah. They also had that weird Mystery Lodge one too for for a year or so.
Yeah.
But yeah, blood drums, yeah, that'd be cool. Something like that. Or maybe I don't like. That's really all that I can think of. I'm sure Six Flags Creative has a lot better ideas.
Yeah.
Or better yet, if you want to bring IPs into the event, do them in a show form. I don't know. A Horror Made Here did like an Exorcist, like kind of themed show, which was like 15 minutes long. It was a little bit immersive. So maybe something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, Six Flags, you're more than welcome to take my blood drums idea and do that.
Yeah. Listen to Rob. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, overall though, I think, and it was the 30th anniversary, right? 30th birthday.
It was, and that was one of my issues. Is I was looking for like a 30-year anniversary sweater or something, and they had nothing with like 30 on it. I think only the staff had stuff that said 30 years. But I think
merch needs to be improved too, for sure.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I don't get me wrong. Like, I love me a good Six Flags Fright Fest hoodie, but they all kind of look the same. And that's more so why I was looking for like a 30-year anniversary kind of hoodie or shirt, but just couldn't find one.
I think the most important thing for Six Flags going forward, just with the regular park and with the special events, is to invest in guest experience.
Yes.
And with guest experience comes revamping the mazes and revamping the scary zones a little bit. That's what I mean by guest experience.
Yeah.
And overall, just making it more fun and enjoyable for people to travel out there, since it is further away from these other events, making it to where people want to go see it. Saw and Conjuring did that. However, I do think that since they did spend more time on Conjuring and Saw, that a couple other things related to 30th anniversary should have been tweaked, but they weren't, especially for an anniversary year.
Right. And I mean, I completely agree with you. Invest more into like the houses or the mazes that they have. And I really want to see, and I'm going to be honest, this is me being biased. I really want to see something with Willoughby's, do something to it, add something. It's a phenomenal house already, or maze that I always enjoy going through, but I want them to do tweak it a little bit, a little more
design.
design.
There are incredible too.
Oh yeah, for sure. There's like this plexiglass scare. Whew.
Yeah. No, and like I think overall with all three of these events, they were very solid.
Oh, for sure.
Knott's definitely takes the cake, no pun intended, with its anniversary. uh, but I think that overall the pros definitely outweigh the cons.
Yes.
For all these different events. Doing this was more so we can recap on what we think should be improved and what went well for them. And there was a lot that went well for all of them and a lot that they can improve on. So, I mean, I had fun doing this. Like I said, this is the first episode of Haunt Talk where we talk haunt. God, I need to figure out some different.
We gotta work on a catchphrase.
Yeah. I mean, here we are, the exploring wolf. I'm exploring attractions. Rob's the Howlin' Hour. So
Yes.
if you're new here to the channel, please subscribe to Rob's channel. Let's help him get to 1,000 subscribers. We have a YouTube channel. It's Haunt Talk all across the board for Instagram, YouTube. And then if you want to find the show, you can find it on this channel. With that YouTube channel, we're going to be uploading clips as frequently as possible and on Instagram as well. So those will all be just basically clips based. So
Nice.
That'll be fun, Rob. I'm excited.
Oh, so am I. I'm really excited. When you brought this idea to me, I was just like, yeah, let's do it. I've been wanting to do something like this for a while.
It's been a while, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been wanting to get back in the podcast game. I just haven't had time. But and it was something that I want to be passionate about.
Right.
And I'm passionate about all haunts, and that's really what I wanted to do. So that's why we're doing it.
Oh, yeah, same here. We have the same mindset, you know, and it's always fun talking with you about haunts and just kind of just going through everything and all these events we go to. We always have a blast.
Yeah. Well, everybody, with that being said, that's been the Haunt Talk. My name is Scott.
I'm Rob.
And we will catch you guys in the next one. So peace out, everybody.